Welcome everybody to Weston Beach, my first City Skylines 2 playthrough where you and I are going to be building a southeastern city inspired by Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on the map Daybreak by Derwent. And I must say what a fantastic job Derwent has done in captivating that tropical palmetto tree mixed with pine tree vibe that Myrtle Beach exemplifies with. I mean, just look at this perfect terrain. This is a map that features a nice flat area leading right up to the ocean, plenty of space for urbanization, along with convenient access to a state freeway, a train line, and indirect access to the interstate some few miles away from what will eventually be city center. Fantastic place to build a fantastic resort town. Uniquely, this map provides us with two starting tiles. We have a starting tile on what I'm going to call North Beach, and we have a starting tile on what I'm going to call South Beach. We're going to be using both of those tiles to more accessibly organize our industrial and our residential areas. South Beach is going to be more industrial as far as things are concerned, and North Beach is going to be more residential as things are concerned. The other thing I'm going to point out is that later down the line, we are going to expand to this area, and this will probably be known as North Beach, and this will simply be known as the main beach, and that is going to be South Beach. Again, plenty of beach vibes to go around, so why don't you join me, settle down, have a nice drink or two, and let's get started. Alright then. Before we start, I am going to mention that I had this whole thing recorded and ready to get going and start editing and doing a whole bunch of post-process. It was going to be fantastic. And the game crashed. So, this is not my first playthrough of this map. In fact, this is probably my fourth playtest of this map. But this time we're actually going to be doing it this time. So, hopefully, we're not going to have any more interruptions. Now then, let's begin. The first place I'm really going to focus on here is going to be this region in here. Now, originally I had plans to develop a story as this used to be a trailer park where people came in and they camped on the beach and stuff like that. Well, I'm not going to do that. We're going to imagine that purpose was more North Beach, but now this region here is our first incorporated master planned area developed by a housing development firm, and so that's what we're going to be doing now. We have the beginning roundabout here, which is very similar to some of the suburban areas that I've been seeing develop close to the Charleston area in South Carolina, and some of the suburban areas of Savannah as well. They're just adding a roundabout to the middle of the county road and letting people build their HOA communities there. And we're really going to do the same thing here. We're going to have a roundabout to get in, and then really the first phase of most of these communities, unfortunately, is butted up right against the street, and it's always going to end in a cul-de-sac. Now, I'm going to use the roundabout here as a cul-de-sac ending. Unfortunately, we can't zone around it, but I feel like I can place some houses and do some fancy magic that way, so we'll see what we can do. So that's going to be that, and then the road here is going to curve naturally towards the beach and into the more densely wooded areas. So we're going to have a curve here, and then curve around again and continue towards the end of this island here. The end of this landmass. I'm going to call it a peninsula, but it's probably not. It's just part of the delta, the river delta there. So now that we've done that, we're going to go with alleyways, and we're going to do the smaller the smaller roads along this area here, and they're primarily going to want to go in their own direction, but at the same time they're limited by the freeway here, so they're going to have a distinctive angle to them, which personally I do like, having that distinctive angle between both of the between the streets. It kind of gives a bit of privacy from the main road. Then from there, at this juncture, we're going to connect them, and then they're going to curve around and they're going to join the main street here, giving residents access to a second exit. We're also going to end this grid here, and it's going to join there, and that's going to give a place to another roundabout. Go ahead and use anarchy to place that. And then we're going to, on the opposite end of the roundabout, place the other end of that. But it's not going to go too far because we don't want to interrupt the beach. Mostly because that is the hatching ground for sea turtles, so we don't want to get homes too close to it. Mostly because we don't want to force our residents to utilize the red light laws that are required, or not red light, but lights out laws for that region, for the region against the beach. Maybe a few houses in here, the lights out laws apply, but for everyone else, we don't want to subjugate them to needing to buy some expensive red tinted lights for their backyard floodlights. But the pro to that region of the housing community here is that you do get a fantastic view of the beach, and you also get a nice beachfront property that thankfully is free now. We're not going to get into details with that, but yeah, I'm glad that the beach properties DLC is now included in the game. If it wasn't for Paradox's decision, we wouldn't be here today. So thank you, Paradox, for making that expansion free for everybody to use, regardless of what everybody else has been saying about it. So now that's done. Again, we're going to use roundabouts for the ends of the cul-de-sacs, just because that's going to be the easiest way of doing it. It may not be the most efficient or functional, but that is what we're going to do. So we've got those row of cul-de-sacs, and now that we've done that, we do need to begin planning for our residential. Now, the issue we're going to run into is that we need to use groundwater, because most likely the river outlets here are so close to the ocean that they're going to have a degree of salinity, and as a burgeoning sort of master plan community, we're not going to have the finances to afford a whole desalination plant. So instead, we're going to prefer to pump the groundwater directly from here, which gives us a water output of 75,000 cubic meters. Excuse me, of water versus 100,000, which is not too much of a loss. However, it is going to increase the amount of reservoir usage, so that is something we're going to have to watch out for. We're going to connect them via dirt road for now, because again, it's just a utility road. We can't really do too many outlandish things here at the start, but once we get rolling, it's going to greatly improve. Unfortunately, though, we are going to have to place a sewage dump just on this river. We are going to have to harm some of the local wildlife, just because we don't have access to sewage treatment yet. But that is going to be our goal later in the series, is going to be to make sure that we keep our rivers, keep our ocean clean, because that is something that we as a people really don't want to lose. Beach vibes are the best vibes, and we need to maintain that mantra. Now we just need to connect power, and that is where we're now going to go to the second zone that we have been given by the city to incorporate, and that is going to be our next objective, is to incorporate it. We're going to go ahead and place our power plant here, and we're going to place underground high voltage lines connecting to the outer parts of the county, so that we can export any excess power that we have. And we're going to connect this power plant again with a road, because as an HOA, this power plant alone is going to take up a massive portion of our budget. We're also going to connect our system here to the county lines so that we can depend more on the parent city's sewer a bit more. Now we're going to begin placing our home zones, and initially we're just going to start with our phase 1 project, and we're going to have this section here. But before we do that, we should probably also plan for a park of some kind. So we're going to go ahead and place a custom park infrastructure asset right in here. This curb area here is going to be the HOA's first park, and hopefully not their only park. Hopefully we can expand this to be a proper master plan community like what you would see in Verado in Arizona, or a couple other places. Just a tree-lined walking park for this section, which will carry on our theme of palmetto trees and pine trees everywhere. Now that we've developed our first HOA in this area, there's going to be a massive demand for additional shopping. So as our phase 1 of our HOA is currently underway, we're also going to begin construction of a shopping center just close by. Again, it's not going to be anything too large. It's just going to be big enough for the local residents to enjoy perhaps coffee, some espresso. I'm not going to say avocado toast, but okay, fine, avocado toast. And potentially some beach-themed drinks as well. So just to add to the allure of moving to Weston Beach. We're going to include some custom parking, which I'm going to somehow build. I will say this is the first time that I've ever used the custom parking assets. So if I'm doing it wrong, please let me know in the comments down below. And I will make sure to brush up on my abilities the next time that we are here in Weston Beach. We'll do that. We're gonna have to delete some of these. Oh no. Okay, the trees are apparently hidden or something. And we will go ahead and place some palm trees right along here. Ooh, maybe not that one. Seems fine to me. And right here, we will go ahead and place a small small roundabout. It doesn't seem very small, but small roundabout. And go ahead and put some shops here, but first I actually want to place another park area. I think first we will go ahead and zone in some commercial here, so that they will go ahead and fill in, and once they fill in, we can place a little park in here, because I do hope that with the commercial, we can zone in some row homes and condominiums as well in this section. And yes, unfortunately, we're going to have to connect with that system, but I don't see it much of an issue. Now that both of these are placed here, we can go ahead and place our park that we want. And okay, that park is completed, and we have more demand for commercial. So we're going to go ahead and zone in the rest of this here, and we're going to continue the commercial beyond that point to extend down here just a bit. But we are also on this end going to expand that to meet on this side and butt up to the rail tracks and county road. Going to connect like that. And then our commercial is going to connect like so. I don't like what that did. Ew, what the heck was that? Don't you hate it when City Skylines does something gross that you don't appreciate? Me too. I hate it. And we've reached our first progression panel. That is perfect. That's what we want. Because with that progression panel, we end up unlocking the ability to have... gosh, what am I saying? We end up unlocking advanced road services. I feel like that's kind of a default unlock at this point for most people, is the advanced road services, just so that we can fine-tune the way that our cities work. Now that the sort of park for this area is completed, we're going to check over here, and we're going to build the homes that are within the cul-de-sac on this first zone, this first phase, and that will finish the first phase of this section of the housing community. Cross the roundabout. And on the opposite side, we're going to place the medical clinic. Give it its own side street. Something like here. Give it its own side street. Has its own lot and everything, because it is a doctor's office after all. We have a region right here that we're going to expand and utilize for temporary industrial, since the game is going to require us to place industrial anyways, and we're kind of forced to have it, or otherwise the city would end up crashing. So we're not going to have this for very long, but it's unfortunately a necessary evil for us to have it anyways. And that's pretty much going to conclude today's episode. Weston Beach is growing quite nicely with everybody moving in, and things seem to be going quite well traffic-wise so far, but that's primarily due to everybody having their own that's just due to people not being around. It's mainly due to there not being very many people in the area to begin with. We'll see how the growth is going to affect how people move throughout the city. But yeah, that's going to conclude everything. I'd like to thank everybody so much for watching today's episode of Weston Beach. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section below. Again, I'm not seeing very many people use this parking lot, but that's probably because they're all still street parking. We'll have to figure out how we're going to solve that in the next episode, because one thing we don't want in this area is street parking. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, it might be an okay thing to have. But anyways, again, that's the end of this episode. I thank you all very much for watching. This is Savius and Sav Cities on Weston Beach, and I hope to see you all in the next episode. Take care.